Okay there guys, it's TC Mabe, and I am doing another live stream for Synty Assets, the platformer developer kit, and also some stuff probably from the Mixamo animation store. Getting back into the kit that I was working on before from MSOD Brushbeard, and he's got a third kit coming out hopefully pretty soon. Can't wait to see that. I looked at the preview on it the other night. Looks pretty good. Looking forward to making that purchase as soon as it becomes available. And I'll just keep checking in, to make sure that it is eventually in my library of stuff when it's ready. So, for those of you who don't know what that is, the MSOD Brushbeard kit, if you go out and look for MSOD Brushbeard, you can get him on UE4. He's got this platformer developer kits, and for the price, you're getting pretty well full-blown game and a lot of really good stuff in there. So, I highly recommend checking it out if you get an opportunity. But where we had left off previously is that I was in the middle of trying to get my rabbit character to animate properly. And so I was doing some cleanup in here and trying to get back to where we can get this all fixed up. So if we play it right now, we'll see. Got a couple of things that I want to fix and try and sort out with my animations in here. And like his jump, see he's jumping forward a little bit. So I want to go and replace some of these and try and make this a little bit better. So I'm going to go into his animation blueprint. And what we want to do is go and look at his anim graph and look at his jump start. And I have this as this jumpy animation, which I'm pretty sure is moving forward a little bit. So jumpy is in here somewhere. Let's see. Okay, there it is. You can't really tell if he's moving forward or not. It looks like he's... Yeah, I feel like he comes down a little bit further out there. So what I had done in the past is I took my skeletal mesh for this guy and took him out to Mixamo. And we're going to do that again. And maybe we can find some better animations this time around. So I'm going to go to Mixamo. Get logged in here. Hopefully if you guys drop by, you're doing well, healthy and safe. And again, these aren't my normal tutorials. This is just kind of me live streaming because I'm stuck at home for the next week or two, or who knows how long with this coronavirus issue. So I thought it'd be fun to go through this, kind of as a group effort. If anybody had any questions along the way, maybe I could answer. I'd be more than happy to. But let's see if I can find my rabbit skeleton, which is right there. So I'm going to go into the Mixamo engine and say upload character, select character file, and under my downloads directory I have this. I thought I just saw TC Rabbit Skeleton. Where was that at? Oh, it's in this PC's downloads. So we'll go there. And get that skeleton up there and let it analyze it. Feel free to say hi if you're out there. And actually pretty easy to take pieces of that and make it work. So I'm going to put an in place on here. And I think that that's probably going to be a better jump than the one that I have now. So I'm going to download this. I'm going to select with skin. And I'm going to get a directory for it. We're going to call this on my D drive, do a new folder. We'll call it Rabbit Anims. And in here, I'm going to call this TC underscore rabbit underscore, and I'm going to call it new jump just so I can kind of keep track of what's going on in here later on. And then once we get that into our system here, what I normally do with these is I bring them in, I just drag them, or copy and paste them into the thing. So in here, I'm going to go and create a folder called new underscore anims. And I'm going to take that other file and I'm going to drag that into this editor. And when you bring these in, they ask you for the skeleton you want to assign them to. So that rabbit skeleton actually inside of here is called CR01 anim FBX skeleton. And I'm going to use the exported time from the animation. I usually select convert scene unit and then I just say import all. And it should bring in just that animation. And hopefully, if things go well, then I can just replace those sections of the jumping animation with like portions of this new one. So what I did the other night after I found a full animation I liked, I actually cut that into, I made 3 copies of it and then changed the frames that I was using on it. I usually delete this file that says take or take one or whatever it is. I don't know what that's doing anymore. It's started something new kind of from Mixamo. But let's go in here and play our new jump. Alright, so that looks a little bit better. And let's go and copy this. We're going to duplicate it. We're going to call this new jump underscore start. Copy it again or duplicate it again. We'll say new jump loop. And we'll do another duplication of it and call it new jump end. Because I think we need all 3 of those, but I'll have to verify that here in a second. So we'll save those. Now right now they're all the same thing, but what we can do is we're going to change these to where the first one, I'm just going to take the part of it where he jumps up. You know, where he gets about to the mid there before he starts coming back down. And I'm going to call that jump up. And then I'm going to take the middle of this where he's fallen like that and call that my jump loop. And then I'm going to take the end of it on a third one and call that the jump end. Okay? And I'll have to open his eyes up and stuff too. I showed how to do that in another video, but we'll have to do it in this one as well. So, probably should have fixed that in one animation and then duplicated it over. So let me maybe do that. That probably would have been a better way to do that. Let me delete these. Again, these aren't my normal tutorial styles. I'm just kind of rolling through here to get things going and sharing it with you guys as I go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to frame 0 on here. And I'm going to go to the skeleton tree. And I'm going to go and look for his eyelids. He's got an upper and lower left eyelid and an upper and lower right eyelid. So I'm going to go to the left upper eyelid. And I'm going to open his eye. Whoop, that's rotating it the wrong way. We're going to go this way and open his eyelid up. Maybe to about 30. Yo, what's up, Felix? How you making out tonight? I'm going to go there and hit key and apply. And then I'm going to go to the lower eyelid. And I'm going to swing that down a little bit. Maybe about 20. Key and apply that. So his eye's open now. And I'm going to do the same thing with his right eyelid. Do the right eyelid upper. And, oops, wrong button. I'm going to bring that one up a little bit. And key and apply. And then do the same thing with the lower. I'm going to bring that down a little. Key and apply that. And so now I got his eyes open and I can save it. And there we can see he's got his eyes open and he's jumping. So yeah, if you're just joining in there, Felix, tonight my plan was to go and try and clean up the jump animations on my rabbit for the platformer game. I was saying that the other one, which is the this jump loop, this I think it was called Jumpy. This one here kind of looked like it was like it had some kind of a very long loop in the end of it, and it was, if you look at it sideways, it actually looks like he's um, like jumping and landing in a different spot, and I just don't like the way that it looks. Now we got a sound for jump and a sound for land. Also, I got to put in there SND jump, SND land. We'll do that in the other one. So right now I'm creating new anims, and we're going to go in here, and now I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to say jump. Whoop, we're going to call this new jump start. Duplicate this again, and new jump end. Hey, by the way, Felix, I never got the email that you said you sent me the other night. I looked through it, and unless I accidentally deleted it, I didn't get it. Just again, my email address is TC, like Tango Charlie, TC underscore MABE, like Mary Alpha Bravo Echo, at yahoo.com. So if you had sent me something, I don't recall seeing it, but if you get a chance to, feel free to send it on out. So I'll take a look at it, but I may have purged it by accident. So there's our new jump start and our new jump end, and then we're going to call this one new jump underscore loop, and we're going to trim these up here in a minute. But what we want to do first is go into our locomotion graph, and we go in here where our jump start is, and this animation right here, we got to replace that. And when we replace it, we have to look at the transitions between these. This one's okay, and that one looks like it's okay. What I'm looking for is if there are any references in here to the durations of the animations, and if there are, then I got to change those references also. So coming out of that jump start, we're also going to have to get an animation for double jump, I see. Double jump. What else comes off of jump start? This one here. Time remaining ratio. So we got to fix this one. And there's one there. That one's okay. So we got to change two of them for the time remaining ratio. And what do we want to do real quick is we're going to trim those animations up and then reassign them. So we'll go back to do anims. We're going to deal with our jump start. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here. Look like his one eyelid's down lower than the other one. Maybe I'm just seeing things. Alright, so his jump start, we're going to go until his feet are, or until he gets all the way at the top of his jump there. Looks to me like maybe about right there. We'll get it to there. And I'm going to say remove the frames from the back end. So now this is going to be a shorter loop. And I'm going to save that. And we'll go into jump start. We're going to right click here and say play. And then we just go up to the top of our list and it shows us all the animations that are associated with that character. I must have deleted it by accident. I get a lot of junk email and stuff, and I probably just didn't even think about what it was and just shot it right out of there. Sorry about that. So now we're going to go down here and we're going to say play new jump start and link that in and get rid of this play jumpy. And in here we want that to not be a looped animation, so it's just going to be one off. Save it. Go back into locomotion here, and that transition, we have to go in here. We're going to right click and say time remaining, and the ratio for the new jump start. And all I'm doing is just looking at what this says here, time remaining ratio, and just changing what animation it's triggered from. So we're going to go over here and take the return value and connect it to that node and delete the old reference and compile that. Okay, so that should take care of the first two. And we didn't have anything we had to fix there. We had to do that there. That is good. Now I'm not going to deal with the double jump just yet. So what we're going to do is put in the jump loop. And let's see. I didn't even have a good animation on there for that in the first place. So let's go get one for jump loop. So what we do now is we're going to take our new jump loop, pull that up. And now what we want to do is go and get kind of where we were at before. We get up to the top of that sequence. And the only difference is we're going to take everything. Yeah, let's go here. We're going to take, actually I should have seen, how many frames was that other one? 6. New jump start goes to, alright, 648. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take from 648 or 649 maybe. Let's do 649. $639. Alright, so I'll take 649 is good enough. I'm going to say remove from frame 0 to 641. Doesn't seem quite right, does it? Pretty close though. And this is going to be him falling down, so it's just going to be this little loop like we did here. Right before he gets that first foot on the floor. Maybe from about right here, and we'll get all the frames from the back out of there. So now we got this little loop. Might be a little short. Might be able to say, let's undo that. I guess we got to do it. Remove it, frame. We'll probably end up using the one that we used for the King's jump sequence. That actually worked out pretty well. So we'll remove from frame 453 to frame, whatever that said, 1258. Because I think these end up being too short. And then you get too much movement in there. Might have to open up the one for Synty and figure out what it was that I pulled down. Actually, they were on my desktop. What did I use for his? I like that one. King Falling Idol. It's the one that was on the Mixamo for the person with the bow. Where's it at? Falling. Yeah, we had this loop. Remember the fall A loop? Yeah, I think I like this. I'm going to download this and use it. I'm going to call that... Where's my rabbit folder? Rabbit, or, yeah. What am I calling these things? I'll just call it new jump loop. Well, yeah. Get rid of this. Call this other one new jump loop. My brilliant naming conventions at work again. I think I make some of these harder than I need to. But again, as I bring in this new animation from Mixamo, I'm just going to assign it to my CR01 Anim FBX skeleton with the exported time, converted scene unit on, and just say import all, and then delete the take file. And then I can rename this. Get that. Whoops, what's going on there? Alright, now we got that on our rabbit, which is in this little window up here. Okay, then the only thing we want to do with him, might have to rotate his spine around, because I think the other one is more forward than that. New Jumpy's looking right at you. This one had problems where it was off to the side, remember, from the other night. So, what happens if I... Yes, rotates the whole thing. So I'm just going to pull him over like -30. I'll key that and apply it. Let's go back here and look at it again, just make sure it's staying straight. Okay. And then what we can do is we can take his eyes and open those up like we did in the last one. So I'm going to zoom in a little, get down to his eyelid, upper. We go like 30 up and like -20 on the lower one. Key and apply. I should have probably hit key and apply on this one too. Key and apply on both of those. Yeah, I think I actually lost it already. All right, let's try this all again here. Let's go. All right, up 30. Key and apply. And that's already down where I want it. Leave that alone. Lower eyelid down 20. Upper eyelid up 30. It's not going to matter much because in most of the cases you're going to be jumping, you won't even see his face. But if we ever get into anything where there's a reflection or whatever and we want him to see it, that would be done. So those are good. So now I can go to my jump loop sequence here. And instead of play jumping down, we're going to say play. Scroll up to the top here. And we want new jump loop. Replace that reference. Kill this. And we just want to leave that animation on a loop. Compile and save. And don't do that. Go back here. And we want to go back to our graph and look at anything that's coming off of our jump loop. We want to check and see if we have to change any of the references. Let's see. And again, I'm not going to mess with the double jump right this second. No good there. Or no problem there. That one's good. I think that's it. And then we should have one where the You would think at the end of the jump loop there would be a jump down, but I guess it actually just transitions right back into idle, walk, run, which actually that means there should have been a thing that said when the end of that was. Where's that other node? If I hover over that double jump or jump loop, it's showing 3 transitions, but I don't see conditions on the other one. Maybe it's okay. So let's go back and hit play now. I'll probably still have some work to do on these to tweak these out some. Alright, well that's a lot better because on my other one when I was jumping, he was jumping forward and I didn't care for that. This one here has got a nice jump to it even though it's a little, yeah, it looks a little bit like there's no gravity. I don't know, what do you think of that, Felix? Looks pretty decent, right? Still feel like, yeah, I just want to get a little bit of better gravity on this character. And I guess to do that, we're going to have to go into the platformer development kit. And there should be something in here with base, maybe character blueprints for the player. Here's the rabbit. So that's where the character movement is going to be found. So character movement. And in the jumping and falling section, let's see, air control, boost velocity. Yeah, thanks. It's looking a lot better. I'm glad we figured that out with the king the other night because that was a game changer for this as well. And I wanted to get this cleaned up because then I can get on with the rest of this thing. Jump Z velocity. Let's turn it down to 300. Oh, that's not a 3. 300. And compile and save that. Let's go back out here and hit play. Yeah, see now he has a much smaller jump range. Now, is that good or bad? It probably means it's probably a little too low. I think maybe 400 would have been better. Because what I want is, let's go over here and I'll show you what I'm getting to. What I think should have happened, the original design from MSOD Brushbeard, was based on a character jumping from here to that little cliff ledge. So if I jump correctly, I should be able to land from spot to spot. So that's not too bad. But I've got to make sure I can get up these things too. So I need just a little bit more jump. What I didn't want to do is have it so that I could jump and like float all the way across the thing. So let's go back and clean that up a little bit. Drag into our blueprint for the rabbit. Character movement. And jump velocity. We'll take this to 400. Compile and save it. And let's hit play. That might be the one right there. Yeah, it's a little bit better. I still can't get up there. Well, okay, it's got the hanging. So if I put the hanging animation on this, it'll be better. Gotta wait till it times out now. If it does. Let's see. So for those of you just joining the live stream here, thanks for stopping by. I'm working on a player development kit from a guy by the name of MSod Brushbeard, and we're going to be using some Synty assets in this thing down the road. And I'm just cleaning up the animations using some stuff from Mixamo. But for whatever reason, I'm getting a little bit of trouble here with the Z velocity on this jump. Let's go back to, this was at 500. I'm going to make it 450. And then I got to go and fix that hanging animation. And to do that, we'll go out and get some stuff from Mixamo. Alright, so I don't mind that. And he can still jump back up onto this thing, but I think it might be still just a little too much. Let's see. Yeah, see, it's a little far. You kind of overshoot it a little bit. Just don't like how he floats down. I don't mind the height that he jumps, but I don't like how long it takes him to coast down. I feel like that's weird. Alright, but it's better than it was. Definitely like the jump animations a lot better. And I don't know if the Z velocity on that character movement is the right thing to even be playing with. What else affects that? Anybody else out there know? I know there's only a couple people watching, but maybe somebody knows what affects how quickly the character gets thrown back to the earth. Let's see. I don't know. Character movement, physics, interaction. A lot of options here. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave it alone. Or I'm going to tweak it one more time to, like, say 425. Let's do 420. Everybody likes 420. We'll do that. That'll be our inside joke. Put 420 on there, and then take one last little peek at it, and then we're going to go and get see if we can get a hanging animation to work out. 420 might be the magic sauce. And it's still awfully coasty. Like a glider. Not horrible, but still a little bit of an overshoot. Yeah, I don't like the hang time. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about a global variable, but I feel like it's one of two things that's causing it. And that max Z, go back here into the character movement, that the jump Z velocity probably has a little bit to do with it. Oh, what's this? Maybe that's helpful also. I'm going to leave that on there, but this says air control. When falling, amount of lateral movement control available to the character. 0 equals no control, 1 equals full control. And then air boost multiplier. I don't know what any of those really mean. I'd like to look those up and kind of understand them a little bit. But I'm sure that there's a reason that he changed all these. Yeah, I want it to be that when the character jumps up and lands, and that there's no coasting and gliding. The only time a character, in my mind, should be able to coast or glide like that is if they're falling from a height and, it's longer than what it would have been on a normal jump. Like, in other words, I don't know how to explain that. If you're standing still and you jump up and it takes you, you know, half a second to land or whatever, that's how long it should take you to land no matter what you're doing, unless you're jumping down and you just haven't hit the lower surface yet. I just don't like that. I don't like that a normal jump has a glide to it. It's okay to augment that stuff with other things, but the trouble with these is if you start tweaking how high or how far a person can jump, it really impacts the level design. Because, like, for example, if that has a long glide time on it, you could put an object much further away, and a person or a character could theoretically jump up and coast over to land on it. But I don't want that to happen. I want it to be like a little more realistic kind of physics to it. Like a good jump would be like a Mario Brothers kind of jump. There was a little bit of a bounce to it, but it didn't have too much of a glide. And it might be some of this. Maybe you put this down to 0.1. Let's just have these and see if it does anything. Let's make this like 12.5. We'll leave these other ones alone. Let's see what all that does. Maybe that has some impact on the thing I'm doing. Nah, still got that little glide. Yeah. Alright. I don't want to tie up the entire live stream trying to figure that out. But I did feel like when I was in the character movement, and I had this down to more like maybe 350, 300, 350, something like that. I felt like that was a little bit more realistic looking, but just not quite high enough. That's a little bit better. Still got that glide though. See, I'm still gliding, but I just can't jump as high. You shouldn't be gliding at that height. So I'll screw around with it somewhere. Let's go back into our animation blueprint, into the locomotion graph here. And let's see if we could get we got to get a climb up. What's this? Nah, okay, that's what I was going to say. None of that's been sorted out yet. So we got to get, I don't want to do climb up yet. I'm going to do hanging. And this shouldn't have a animation yet either. So let's see if we have one on here. Should be like a ledge hang or something. There you go. Hanging idle. Well, could be that easy. So we're going to download that one. And we'll call that D drive. New hang idle. And we'll put that in here. Whoops. Shoot. We're in trouble now. I just accidentally started that other editor in the background there. Oh, no, I didn't. I clicked this. I thought I started. Oh, yeah, I did, didn't I? I started Unreal Engine on the other side. I don't want to do that. That's some bad stuff. New anims. Pop open this folder and pull in our new hang idle. Yeah, I accidentally opened up that old. So disregard that in the background there. Actually, I could probably kill that real quick. Let's go to Task Manager 423.1. There's my 424 one on the bottom. This should be 423. Yeah, 423. So we'll end that task. Lifesaver. Okay, so we're going to assign this to our CR01 anim FBX skeleton and import all. And we're going to take a look at that. I think that's going to be pretty good. And we want to go in here and get his left eyelid upper. Take that up 20. Key, apply. The lower down 30. Maybe just 20. Key and apply. We'll do the same thing with this one. We're going to go down 20. Key and apply, and up 20. And key and apply and save. And then we can go to our anim graph. Go into, oh, I was already there. So this is our hanging. So we're going to right click, and that's that should be a looped animation. So we're going to say play. We're going to try and say play. New hanging idle. I should have named that differently. I didn't take the other Mixamo thing off the back end of it. Doesn't really matter, I guess. Alright, so we'll leave that on there. And let's go hit play. Gotta get to a spot where I can hang. There we go. Well, he's hanging, but he's not using his animation. Probably because there's got to be the transition that takes place in there. I didn't put all that stuff in yet. In the locomotion graph, to even get to hanging, you got to go through another transition there. Alright, so we're going to need a transition for climb up. So what I want to do is I want to go to the animations for here and look at the climb up that he had. Alright, so it's just lifting up off the ledge to get onto the top there, it looks like. Mixamo. We'll look up climb up. What else we got on here? Probably 10 billion climbs. It's a guy climbing a telephone pole or something. Climbing a ladder. That might be a tough one. Actually, getting up. Administering CPR. Great animation. I don't know what we're going to do about that one. I might be able to, let's say, climb. I wonder if there's like a climb out. Climb on. Well, if we reverse, yeah, we can mirror this one. Let's do. That's just going to put it on the other side. Thinking if I do your -1 trick, right? If I do your -1 trick, then technically we'd get that at the very end, right? So he's hanging, -1, boom, right? Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. I think we're going to download this. And we're going to call this climbing down, just like it is. New climbing down. All right, this is where your trick's going to come in handy, Felix. I think you figured this out the other night. New climbing down. I'm going to put that on my skeleton, leave that all there, import everything. I don't know if it's the same couple of people that have been in the stream the whole time, but thanks for hanging out with us. Just working on some animation stuff for the platformer game and trying to bring over some of the Mixamo animations on our characters. And then I have a bunch of Polygon Synty assets or Synty Polygon assets that I'm going to be using in this pack to decorate things and do level layouts and all that kind of good stuff. I'm going to download these or delete these take files real quick. Get rid of those things. Okay, and then we're going to duplicate this. Wait a minute. We're going to call this new climbing up. And in the animation, under the asset details, if we put the rate scale in at -1, it reverses it so that we're climbing up instead of down. And what we're going to do is find the spot where he's in the hang. So his hands are already up and he's right there. So we want to play from here to 0. So we're going to remove all the frames to the right of this. No, wait a minute. What did I do? Did I jack it up? Oh, no, okay. It just went to 0. Okay. And then the only other thing I'm going to do, just because I can't stand it, is these eyes. Eyelid upper. Let me spin the guy around here a little bit. Alright. Up 20. You always got to hit this key and apply thing or else we lose that. What do you think, Felix? We used your trick. I think it's going to work. Feeling pretty good about it. New climbing up goes into our animation locomotion here. So we're going to say play new climbing up. And that's not a loop. Compile and save it. I don't know if there's something that gets us into that transition. I got to go look at all those other little node connections. There's probably a socket or something I'm missing that gets him to stick onto the wall. Yeah, there's something else going on here. Let's go look at the player mesh on the skeleton. Started working on a climbing system but haven't started testing yet. The animations I want are not working properly. Still bothers me. It's just sitting in Blender right now trying to modify the mannequin skeleton. Yeah, that's a fun task. I have a skeleton on my drive that's mostly Blender compatible. It's just missing a root bone, and the root bone was removed for getting animations from Mixamo to work in there. And then I have another tutorial video where I did a thing with the Blender plugin so that you could add the root bones back into the animations, and then you just have to delete like the first frame because it had something weird to it. But for the most part, it's should be pretty straight. I wonder if I need a pelvis socket. That's probably what's attaching to the wall. Pelvis socket. Kind of went out of his way to put a socket there. Throw socket we did yesterday, or the helmet socket. Oh, excuse me, odd that ensued. Lower left leg, and pelvis. So let's go back to my skeleton. Oh, these eyes aren't open either. Huh. It doesn't matter in here. Alright, so yeah, it doesn't matter, you can't do anything with it. Alright, so I have a socket there. So he has a pelvis, but I'm going to add a socket and literally call it pelvis socket. I think his was in the middle like that. And then might as well, while we're here, there's his head. So under the head we want to get a add socket and do a socket called helmet socket. And then the helmet socket we're going to move, for now we're just going to move that up. But actually what you can do with this helmet socket, the reason it's on there, if you add a preview asset to this thing and go in here and type for helmet, he's got this flashlight helmet thing, which is, where the hell did that thing go? Wait a minute. That did something strange. There we go. We'll just remove that attached asset for now. We'll play with that in a minute. And save this. There we go. You got socketed better. Yeah, so the socket's getting attached, but he's not going into his animation sequence because there's something I haven't turned on correctly. I'm going to sit here and figure that out for a second. So to go from is climbing. Oh, wait a minute. I did notice this the other day. Let me double check something because his character blueprint. This is not the right spot. In his animation sequence. He has two blueprints. This one. That one has the climb up anim. But I want to say this one does not. Oh, so they both do. Why did he? I keep forgetting why he had two of these. I think one of them doesn't actually do anything anymore. This is the one that didn't have the sequence that we needed for whatever's in this whatever's in this anim graph here for throwing. I'm gonna fix all that too. Climb up. So how does he get into his climb animation? Idle, walk, and run. Oh. I know what's going on. I know exactly what's going on. There's an animation. He's got to have a trigger at the end. There it is right there. So the climb up anim that he has a thing called climb up end, which is an anim notification or whatever that's telling the animation editor that it's time to invoke that other thing. So climb up anim in mine doesn't have that. That's what's going on. Climb up anim. And ours needs to be Add notify, skeleton notifies, climb up end. So we'll put that there. What else is in his? Where's his hanging animation? Okay, this says no notifies there. See if that fixed anything. May not have, but it's worth a shot. Okay, that didn't fix it. Something like that, though. You know what it is? Jump up. Where's his... jump stuff? Jump. Start. No. Jump loop. No. And jump. I thought there was a jump end. He's not doing it that way anymore. See, here's the other one too. In our throw animations, we're going to have to put in a throw and a throw end. And I didn't do that to mine either. My animations... throw... Yeah, you got to figure all that out. Well, we were making pretty good progress, and then we hit this little wall here. I feel like I'm getting ready to go down a, no pun intended, rabbit hole here to try and figure out how this thing is wired up to make it all work. And I don't really want to do that on this stream. So maybe that's a good stopping point for scrolling around with the platformer editor tonight. I don't know. Take a look at one more little batch of things here, and then I might just call it a night until I get a chance to look at that a little bit tomorrow afternoon. We know that his character blueprint, it hit his animation graph. Wait a minute. Not even the right spot. His animations. Yeah, climb up has a climb up end. We're doing the same thing, climb up end. Be nice if I knew if this was actually being used. See, if I was in a regular engine, I would know how to go and look at the code and error trap it and all that kind of stuff. But this visual scripting thing drives me a little crazy because I don't know enough about where to look at it, you know? All right, notify trigger chance 1.0. Trigger on dedicated server. Wonder if I have any of those same settings on mine. It all looks the same. So what gets us to that animation for the climbing up? Anybody? Anybody got any ideas? So that should come from him hanging. Let's go see what he does. So he's just hanging there. If he is hanging, he can fall off and go to a jump loop. I don't know which part you're referring to. I was saying that I hit this wall here where I'm trying to figure out how to get from that hanging animation, or to get that hanging animation to actually work. And I said this might be a good stopping point for this stream so that I can dedicate some time towards checking it all out. I don't want to tie everybody else up with random nonsense. Ugh, excuse me. Plus, I am getting a little tired. But I feel like we made pretty good progress with cleaning some of those animations up. And if I go back into the player blueprint and go back in here to this mesh. Yeah, I don't know what's causing all that, but I gotta go through it and look at it. I don't want to tie everybody else up while I'm looking at it. So I'm gonna say that this is a good place to stop this particular chunk of this. Oh, what's the frowny for? I don't think we're gonna figure it out. The only thing I know for sure is his animation for climb up has this end on it. Climb up end. Maybe it has something to do with the timing. That's at frame 13 out of 15. My climb up. I put it in there roughly around the same spot but on the other end because it's playing backwards. I don't see anything different about mine. But I feel like there's another way to get into that transition from the, from the way that the blueprint's wired up. You would feel like you're doing your idle walk run thing. You jump up in the air. You loop around. Oh, wait a minute. What's this loop? From here. Yeah. And then you jump onto something and you start to hang. Let me see if it does it any better in the other map. There's maps. Go to starting level. Just for the fun of it, we'll see if it plays any better in the front level there. I still don't have any way to clean this up from what I can see. I'm going to let it compile these shaders real quick. There's only 700 billion of them. And actually, while that's doing that, I'm going to go back out here real quick and look. Is there a double jump? Nah. You need to set something in the character blueprint and then grab that data from the NMBP event graph to trigger the transition to the anim graph, I think. Well, that's what I was saying. There is a transition in here. So if you look at his animation blueprint, what he's doing is he's got this animation called hanging, or not hanging, sorry. The other one, he's got climb up. And climb up has this climb up end in it, and that sends a notification to this animation blueprint in the event graph. Oh, here we go. What's this? Event grab ledge. Climb up end. So you can add a breakpoint here. And then when you watch, yeah, it should already be hooked up because I hooked it in with the animation notification. Oh, good. Look, now my now my jump's too looks like it's probably too tight. Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna fix that real quick. I screwed myself into not being able to play the game. That's not what I wanted. I want this. My goodness. So we're going to set this back to, even though it's too long for what I'm doing, I'm going to set this back to 600. Actually, I'm going to set it to like 500. And these didn't look like they made any difference. So this was 0.3. Make that back to 2 and make this back to 25. That should make it playable again. Anyway, for those of you watching this still, or anyone that watches this later, or fast forwards, this is the MSOD Brushbeard's kit for platformer. And it's a really good kit. Just got to tweak it a little bit to use it with this character I'm trying to use. And I'm running into some issues with the animation notifications. So right there, he's definitely hanging. But he's not playing his animation to hang, which is what I got to get figured out. And then from there, he can jump up, but his notification never gets fired, so it's not. He looks like he's been up for like 5 days straight. The way his eyes are wired open. There he is, blinking. It's crazy. So I don't know. I gotta just play around with that a little bit and see if I can figure out what's happening. But the next steps are cleaning that up, getting those last couple of animations together where he can throw things, jump up and climb up, and then I'll start adding sound into it. And from all the sound triggers and all that kind of stuff, next places to go. Start adding the additional things to it for different levels and stuff. The Anim BP. Yeah, there it is there. And the, I don't know what that thing is grabbing. Oh, the anim graph. Sorry. I was going to say this is the anim blueprint, but you want the locomotion graph. Alright, so here's the hanging animation. And it's got these 4 wires coming off of it. And I'll say basically the same thing. Alright, are you climbing? Or are you hanging? If you're in a jump loop and you hit a ledge, what's the condition for the transition to climb up? Which one here? Actually, the transition from jump start to jump loop to hanging. So you're going from jump start to jump loop. I wonder if that timer's too long. Is that the spot you're talking about? I'll turn this down to 1. So that was this one going from you said from jump start, right? That's the one I just changed to 1. So from jump start to jump loop. And then the one that goes from jump loop to hanging is just saying, are you already hanging? Because if you're hanging, transition from jump loop to hanging is right here. And it just asks, are you hanging? And that should play this animation. Yeah, I agree with you. It seems strange to me as well. But I did just change that time in there. So let's see if that had any impact on anything. I doubt that it did, but certainly, oops. Hold on. I'm trying to pull this window down here. Wish I overshot my distance there again. See, right now I should be playing a hanging animation. Yeah, I feel like that's how these things go. It's like you're rolling right along. Like tonight, we swapped out a bunch of animations, got things looking good. It's all happening. Then all of a sudden, you hit a brick where you go, "Wait a minute, what's going on in here?" And somewhere there has to be either a timing issue or something's not triggering a notification, or I don't know what it is. But it's got to be something simple because there's it's not much according to what you see here. Not really. Maybe simple is not the right word for it, but it can't be overly complex. It certainly looks worse than it needs to be, doesn't it? My goodness. It's a really, really nice package, though. And the funny thing of it is, if you like the character that he has in there, you just literally load this thing up and just start creating levels, and within a very short period of time, you're good to go. But like I said, I have a different vision for this down the road with hack and slash dungeon adventure type thing, and I need a character that's got arms and legs to wear armor and carry swords and weapons and stuff. So yeah, I agree with you. And the thing of it is too, when I'm trying to work on this stuff when I'm not live streaming, I can just scroll around with it and figure it out, take a break, walk away, do something else. But I'm trying not to bore the living shit out of everybody who watches this. If anybody actually stops in and checks it out. Um, I feel like at some point you're at a point of no return where nobody's going to learn anything new from watching me sit here for 40 minutes trying to figure out why that's not working. So I'd rather figure it out off screen, off camera, and then get back to it and say, okay, here's how we go from there. So I think that's kind of where I'm heading. As I've said a couple times now, I think I want to get off of this one and move on to something else. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill this live stream. I'm going to wrap this one up. And then I'm going to start another one real quick. I wanted to show you. I'm not going to do it in here, but I'm going to show you what's coming up in this next one. So the next live stream, which I'm going to start in like several minutes from this one. I'm going to take a quick break and then come right back into this. I cleaned up all my stuff, but I wanted to show you this Northammer action RPG. And actually the Synty ARPG one. Maybe I'll pull that up first, because in here I actually have a character that I converted over with a Synty skeleton. And from the Synty skeleton pack, this actually looks pretty decent in there. I have it to where it's using weapons and all that kind of stuff. And then in the Northammer action RPG one, I'll close out with that tonight. I have the Dungeon Architect all set up in there, and I'll show you how that thing was working to generate levels for the Northammer ARPG thing I was working on. So that's what's coming up in just a few minutes. So for now, I'm going to end this live stream, and I'll be back on within the next 5 or 10 minutes. I'm just going to take a quick break, grab a drink, and I'll be back on here. So thanks everybody for watching. Hope you stay safe and healthy, and maybe I'll see you in the next live stream. Thanks. Let's see if I can shut this off here. There we go.